Q4 is the time of year where the consumer market ends up spending a substantial amount of money, making it the most profitable time for e-commerce businesses and us dropshippers. Therefore, in this video, ladies and gents, I'll be sharing my complete dropshipping Q4 checklist and blueprint so you and your business can be fully prepared and maximize your profits. What's going on, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, then welcome to it. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Yash, and the main purpose of this channel is to, of course, document my journey in the e-commerce and dropshipping game, but to more so provide value and insight for you guys. Now, in case you are new to dropshipping and this is your first Q4, first and foremost, I want to say congrats, because this Q4 will absolutely be massive. E-commerce has only been growing for the past 2 years at such a substantial rate, and even if you get a small piece of that pie, you'll definitely be set for years.
Put this money in your savings account. Go spend some money for no reason.
So essentially, Q4 make up the last 3 months of the year: October, November, and December. And during these 3 months, consumers, or even yourself perhaps, do the most amount of shopping because of Christmas, the holidays in general, and of course, Black Friday and Cyber Monday weekend. Therefore, it's very important to get ahead of your competition, ahead of the curve, and really make sure you have a proper strategy and game plan in action. And that is exactly what I'll be doing in this video. As mentioned, I'll be sharing a whole bunch of tips and strategies of both on the front end and back end, so you guys can go ahead and implement them. Make sure to watch through the entire video because this will be very informative and helpful. With that being said, make sure you guys do drop a like on this video, and while you're at it, make sure you guys are also subscribed to the channel with that post notification bell turned on so you guys are updated with all recent videos. Without any further ado, let's hop into the computer and take a look at this Q4 checklist for success. Alright, so first and foremost, I want to talk about the base and foundation of things, and that is, of course, your Shopify store. Ladies and gents, you want to make sure your store is as professional and as optimized as possible. One thing you can do is utilizing a professional paid theme instead of a free theme. Paid themes will allow you to beat your competitors as it comes pre-installed with more apps and widgets. It also has faster loading page times, and in general, it has way more to offer compared to a free theme. All in all, a paid theme will make your store look nice and micro-branded. With all of this in mind, you want to make sure your homepage, your product page, your product pages, cart page, and checkout page are nice and congruent. Make sure it's nice and responsive, it looks and feels good. Make sure the aesthetic of the overall pages is also nice. So ideally, you should be really focusing on color schemes. For example, not having more than 2 or 3 color schemes, spacing, spelling, grammar, punctuation, and also just having limited distractions and pop-ups. You want to ideally make sure the customer's journey from the product page or landing page to that confirmation or thank you page is as guided and as seamless as possible. Next, I want to talk about the home page. This is something that you should definitely implement when November and December comes, which are undoubtedly the most important months in Q4. I would definitely customize and change up your banners and promo bars. For example, you can use something like Canva, which is a great free tool that allows you to do stuff like that. You should definitely be including Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holidays in general, and of course Christmas, so make sure you're following along the timeline and you're changing and implementing these things when needed. Now, I really want to touch upon product pages because for most of us, this is a page that you're going to be driving traffic to. So when it comes to November and December, you want to make sure you have the following things. For example, having a countdown timer will definitely implement some urgency and scarcity in the customer's eyes. Now, I usually don't like to have countdown timers, but the last 2 months or Q4 in general is an exception. And if you're wondering what app to use for a countdown timer, if your paid theme doesn't already come inbuilt with one, Horify is absolutely a great app to utilize. I also like to make sure I'm enabling pop-ups. A lot of people do sleep on pop-ups, but it's very important that you have these enabled so you're collecting these customer emails. And of course, you can later leverage these emails and send out different email marketing campaigns, flows, and sequences out. Just a little tip, I also like to make sure the pop-up doesn't come right away upon landing on the store because that can definitely serve as a distraction. So usually I like to wait about 20 seconds and have the pop-up come up right after the potential potential customer finishes browsing around the store and reading what they have to read. Now, as an e-commerce business owner, guys, you want to make sure you're maximizing the potential of your sales, right? You want to make sure you're squeezing as much out of your customer as much as possible, and therefore you really want to focus on your AOV, your average order value, especially when battling the inconsistencies of paid traffic. So one really good way to do this is incorporating volume discounts. For example, volume and discounted pricing is a great app. You can have something like buy 2 for 10% off, buy 3 get 15% off. So this is a great offer and also a great incentive. So I believe it's a win-win situation for both you and the customer. Pre-checkout cross-sells is also really good to have, meaning right as someone adds to cart, they get a little pop-up with 1, 2, or 3 relevant items to that main central product. For example, if you're buying an iPhone 12 from Apple, they might pre-checkout cross-sell you a charging dock, a wireless screen protector, or something like that. So overall, make sure that pre-checkout cross-sell or cross-sells are relevant to that main central item as I mentioned. And of course, a great app for this is Candy Rack. Last but not least, if you do have a niche or general niche store, you also want to make sure you're incorporating post-purchase upsells. A great app for this is Sweet Upsell. You can go ahead and incorporate other items in that same collection or anything like that for people to buy even more. And the great thing about this app is that people don't have to incorporate their payment and shipping information all over again, as that already has it saved. So essentially, people can just go ahead and buy what else they want and go through that checkout process very seamlessly. Let's talk about product criteria. This is probably very important, and honestly, it's what a lot of people do struggle with, believe it or not. So you want to make sure your product is as broad as possible, meaning the product is mass targetable and mass approachable. You want to make sure your product has no hindrances, biases, or limitations attached towards it. You want to make sure it fits this criteria because this means your product is more scalable and you can take multiple angles and reach different audiences within. For example, I know this is a little bit over the top, but if you have like an underwater basket weaving kit,
bro, what are you talking about, man?
It's going to be super tough to go ahead and scale because it is so micro niche. When we're talking about price range and it comes to Facebook ads, which encompasses the Facebook and the Instagram platform, we have to keep in mind that Facebook and Instagram are forms of interruptive marketing. It is, of course, pattern interruption. So you want to have people make their decisions very quick without thinking too much. So I like to sell low and mid ticket items, which means the selling price has to be anywhere between $10 to $100. Anything more than that can work, but it's usually a little bit harder to force that sale on that customer right away because it involves a little bit more thinking, or sometimes people may even be guilty for spending that much money. So $100 to about $10 on the low end is just a sweet spot. And of course, you want to make sure it does have a wow and impulsive and unique factor behind it. No one just goes on Facebook and Instagram and goes like, let me see what I can buy from my timeline or from my newsfeed today. So you have to make sure it does have that unique factor and it's not just another product that people can go ahead and buy in retail shelves. Now, I'm someone who likes to think long term. I want to maximize that lifespan of the product. So this criteria is not a must, but if you do fulfill this criteria, it will only help you. At least try and have a product that is evergreen, meaning it can be sold anytime throughout the year based on the time, the season, so on and so forth. Keep in mind, when it comes to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, and the holidays in general, people are just quite frankly price shopping, so there's no one better niche than other, but these are some great evergreen products that have worked well for me before in Q4, and those include home decor, personal and self-care, wellness, and of course, home improvement. Of course, if you do have some winter apparel products or winter products or anything related to Christmas or Thanksgiving, that can sell as well. But the thing is, when it comes to these sorts of evergreen products, you can even scale them past Q4 into 2022 and onwards. When it comes to your flow and your budget, I guess this is tapping a little bit into the advertising side. I like to test about 2 to 4 products a week. If you do have a little bit of a higher budget, then go ahead and test about 4 to 6 products a week, but 2 to 4 products a week is just a sweet spot. Usually about 30 to 40 to 50 products a person does sell. They'll find about 1 or 2 consistent products that they can scale. Now keep in mind, it is Q4, there's a lot of competition, there is a high bidding war when it comes to paid advertising platforms, especially Facebook. So you want to make sure that if you do go ahead and sell or at least test 2 to 4 products a week, those are very high quality products. Now usually I don't like to spend more than $70 $75 to $200 per product test. If I'm not breaking even in the first 36 hours on that product, I'll first go and reverse engineer if anything is wrong, if there's any missing leaks. If there's nothing as such, I will go ahead and turn that product off and move on to the next one. It's very important that you don't stay emotionally attached and connected to that certain product. Moving further into the advertising component, this is my exact Facebook launch strategy. I do have a conversion campaign as the objective, and the optimization will be for purchase, as that is the end result or end goal of what we're trying to accomplish. I will have a CBO campaign, which stands for campaign budget optimization, in where the budget is set at the campaign level. The optimization does happen at the campaign level in this case, whereas an ABO or ad set budget optimization, the optimization happens at the ad set levels, and of course the budget is different or set at the ad set level. So you can have either a $75, $85, or $100 per day campaign. I usually have a $100 per day campaign. Just depends on your budget and how quickly you want to go ahead and accumulate that data. Within my one CBO campaign, I will have 7 ad sets. These are usually single interests most of the time. I want to make sure my audience size or my potential reach is above 2 million. And I will also go ahead and exclude my interest or interests by the following: AliExpress and dropshipping. This will lead you to have better CPMs, and also we don't want those people who are interested in AliExpress or dropshipping seeing our ads. It's pretty pointless, and they can even go ahead and potentially steal those ads. Now, I always say, especially if you watch my winning product videos, that you don't want to put all your eggs and bets into one creative. Creative testing is very important when it comes to Q4 and overall Facebook advertising. So you are going to have 14 ads in total, or 2 ads per ad set. So for example, ad set 1 can have something like video 1, thumbnail 1, video 2, thumbnail 1. So I'm changing up 1 variant per ad set, and that is the exact video. You don't want to go ahead and change multiple variants up at the same time, because you want to see what's underperforming and what's overperforming. For countries, I'll go ahead and I'll start with the big 5. Later on, I may potentially scale worldwide if the product has a lot of potential, but the tier 5 or the big 5 are the countries with the most credit card spenders and online users. So those are the US, UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. For language, I want to do English all. This will definitely result in better CPMs, and also if you think about it logically, why would you want other people seeing your ads that their native language isn't in English on Facebook? At the end of the day, your Shopify store and your ads and your creative will be in English, so you only want to target native speaking English users. For placements, you want to do automatic. You don't want to assume or anything like that. Let Facebook do the hard work. Their AI and their machine learning is super powerful and super smart, so you can always narrow down later on if needed. And then this is something I want to stress, especially when it comes to those last 2 months, November and December. Make sure within your ad copy, whether it be in your primary text, your headline, or your description, you're mentioning or highlighting a percentage off, 50, 60, 70%. Remember, people are price shopping. Any sales prices, special discounts, promo codes, BOGOs, free shipping, anything like that. Overall, you want to try and create that urgency, there's that scarcity, and that trust where and when you can. So overall, don't be afraid and hesitant to push that urgency and scarcity. You want to make sure you're pushing the best incentive, the best offer, and the best deal for your customers. Let's talk about suppliers and logistics. But first and foremost, I will say before we get into all this good stuff, do not utilize AliExpress, guys. It is definitely not worth it. Fulfilling from AliExpress has been long dead. And honestly, if you do still fulfill from there, please don't do so, because it's very unreliable, and a lot of suppliers on there do lie. And more than that, there's a lot of miscommunication and misinformation presented on AliExpress. So let's get into some beginner options to utilize. This is when you're doing maybe a few orders a day, or you're just testing the waters. You're still testing products, which is completely fine. So these are a few websites that you can actually go ahead and utilize. They include CJ Dropshipping, Udroppy, Weo, Sourcing Box, and of course Aprolo. And with all of these, you can attain about 10 to 20 day shipping times, which is not too bad. Next, let's go on to the intermediate level. Now maybe you found some traction with the product. You're getting about 30, 40, 50 orders a day, which is absolutely amazing. You want to go ahead and contact a private shipping agent. You can most likely find one of these through myself. DM me on Instagram if needed, or maybe through your network, maybe on Facebook groups. But these are absolutely great to work with. with, as they have direct access to factories and manufacturers in China, and you can also communicate with them through Skype or through WhatsApp, which is super convenient. And they can give you direct pricing and whatnot. They'll also go ahead and process, fulfill, and ship your orders out for you. They'll incorporate tracking information, so it's more automated overall. With these guys, you can get about 7 to 15 day shipping times. Like I mentioned, it's more direct access, it's easier communication, they're more reliable, more trustworthy. There's also quality control that they can go ahead and do for you, more trust, and that automation factor is also there, so you don't have to go ahead and manually fulfill and process and ship out each and every single order, upload all the tracking information. This stuff gets very monotonous and very tedious and very time consuming, of course, when you're doing 30, 40, 50, or even more orders a day. Now, these are some advanced options. This is when you're definitely scaling a product. This is definitely when you found that winning product and you're doing 150 orders per day consistently. You can go ahead and reach out to a US 3PL warehouse or fulfillment center and attain 4 to 7 day shipping. This is probably where you can even go ahead and white label a product and get custom box inserts and packaging and put your logo on the product and whatnot, which is definitely what should be your ultimate goal after you find a winning product. 4 to 7 day shipping is also more trust, a great selling point. And of course, you have all of the above, resources and benefits that I just mentioned in the intermediate options with that private shipping agent. Maximize your backend. Don't be just focused on testing products and scaling your ads. All that is great, but this is something that you should have incorporated right from the get-go. If you're going to do anything at all, ladies and gents, you might as well do it the right and proper way from the beginning. Email marketing is very, very important. You want to either utilize Abandonment Protector or Klaviyo. Klaviyo is a little bit more versatile, a little bit more intricate, but for starters, Abandonment Protector will just do the job. You want to make sure you have 3 different sequences for abandonment carts, right? 2 hours, 10 hours, and 24 hours. At the end of the day, people will abandon their cart, their checkout, when they're in different processes and stages within your funnel. That's completely normal, but our job is to at least try and reel those people back in and go ahead and purchase. If you do want a proven great abandonment cart email sequence that I use for my own stores, click on that video right there, guys, and definitely use it as a benchmark and even a template. When we're getting closer to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas, you should definitely send out and test different sequences and different flows. I like to do this about 1 or 2 weeks prior, so then I can go ahead and double down on my offers and what templates and what wordings are working the best. Just like ads, just like audiences, just like creatives when it comes to Facebook ads, email marketing is all about testing different variables, which consist of, different flows and different sequences and whatnot. SMS marketing is just as big on the back end, believe it or not, but SMS marketing has proven to be more powerful and more reliable over the past 1 or 2 years, especially as it is more convenient and more people are starting to utilize text instead of emails now. So SMS Bump is great for starters, and then Attentive is even a more intricate and all-inclusive app you can definitely utilize once you have more assets, aka those customer phone numbers. Once you have these phone numbers and emails, you can go ahead and utilize Klaviyo for email marketing and Attentive for SMS marketing, as they let you send out different campaigns and whatnot and get revisiting and lifetime and quality customers. Anyway, going back to abandonment carts, I want to make sure that I have 3 sequences or 3 flows again. So I like to have one at 1 hour, one at 5 hours, and one at 12 hours when it comes to SMS or text message marketing. And then the same thing like for the emails for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you want to test different sequences and different flows, incorporate images and GIFs and see what's working and see what's not working at least 2 weeks prior. So let's talk about some additional toppings you can have on the top to maximize that back-end revenue, especially long-term. Newsletters are great. Try to have people opt in for these on your home pages and in emails and stuff. Again, you can later leverage these emails and bring in that additional revenue. Blog posts are also great to get real, authentic, driven customers to your store, and they're also great long-term because they do serve or build backlinks, which is great for SEO, search engine optimization, which can definitely bring you organic traffic to your website. Now, you can go ahead and bang out 1 or 2 blog posts a week. They don't even have to be that long. And once you do have some capital, reinvest that back into your business and hire or outsource someone on Fiverr or Upwork to go ahead and write these blog posts for you. You can simply just go ahead and train them a few hours a week up front. Social media, a lot of people sleep on this, but you want to make sure you're posting on your social media platforms, Instagram especially, at least 3 to 5 times a week. No one likes a blank Instagram page with no followings and no posts. This is definitely a red flag to potential customers. Of course, some other benefits include that increased organic engagement and traction, social proof, that brand authenticity, and of course, the algorithm does favor when you're running ads on these pages, but at the same time, these pages are actually active with posting content. So definitely make sure you're taking even an hour or 2 out of your week to post on social media. Once you do get to that higher point, this is something that you can outsource as well. Now let's talk about this on the surface, self-expansion. Maybe you're 2, 3, 4 months into scaling this product. Maybe you're running a second or third product and you want to go ahead and actually automate some things. You want to make sure your infrastructure is as solid as possible within your e-commerce business. Because remember, just because you're a good dropshipper or a good advertiser does not mean you are a good entrepreneur. You definitely need a team if you want to get to that multi 6 and 7 figure mark annually in net profit. The first thing you can do at least is hire virtual assistants. But the first thing you want to do is, again, outsource everything that you absolutely can so you can spend a little bit more time on the business than in the business. I did talk a little bit about this on that last slide. For example, customer support is something that you can definitely outsource, having all these inquiries and questions come in through emails, even on social media platforms, such as Instagram and Facebook. Maybe you're getting a ton of comments and messages. You can definitely hire a VA to do all these things for you. Even when it comes to order fulfillment, you can definitely outsource this. Now, if you have a private shipping agent or a warehouse, you can even hire and train someone to overview and manage everything and follow up with these agents and people at the warehouses. So again, that just takes off a little bit more off your plate and you have more time, energy, focus, and money to reinvest in other portions of the business. Of course, when it comes to ad creatives, I always like to make sure I'm outsourcing or letting someone handle what I'm not the best or great at. So I do utilize e-com creations for all my ad creative needs, especially when I'm testing products. I'll be leaving a link down in the description below. If you do use my code YASH10, you will also get 10% off. They have a great team, great turnaround time, and also great customer support. And of course, they are absolutely amazing at what they do. Otherwise, I would not be using them. And of course, telling you guys to use them. Remember, money with time is what you want, so make sure you're looking into these options when the proper time comes. Most people hire too late, so I don't want you guys to make that same mistake like I did. Of course, all of this will take 1, 2, or 3 weeks when it comes to onboarding the right people, training them, interviewing them, making sure they have the right resources at hand, but it's definitely worth it long term. Trust me when I say that. Where to find all these VAs or potential team members? You can go within your network. That is the first thing I would ask. Other colleagues, other people in group chats, so on and so forth. You can even ask people in my Telegram or my Facebook group, which you should definitely join. Links are in the description. You can also use Upwork, Fiverr, and FreeUp to find these potential candidates and onboard them on your team. Let's talk about some extra tips that will definitely help you all out, both short-term and long-term, especially if you're a beginner. So when it comes to payment processors on your store, when it comes to actually collecting that money from your customers, you want to make sure you either have Stripe or Shopify payments. Either or are good, and you also want to make sure you have PayPal. I like giving people conveniency. I like giving people those options, so I personally have both. I know with PayPal there's these whole things about holds and stuff like that, but I like to have an app called Proveway Uptrack. It basically syncs these tracking numbers onto PayPal automatically, so you don't have to go ahead and do the work. Remember, PayPal just wants to see trust from you, right? They want to make sure you're operating this business legitimately and you're not doing anything suspicious or any frauds or anything like that. So as long as you have good customer support and of course you're uploading these tracking numbers onto PayPal through Proveway Uptrack, you should be just fine. Now, once you start doing about 25K a day or more in sales consistently, I kind of just wanted to throw this in. Maybe you're advanced and you're watching this, or maybe perhaps you're even a beginner intermediate player and sometimes this Q4 you do reach that day, right? That would be really, really awesome. But again, once you do reach that 25K per day mark or even more, I would say definitely transition into private payment processors. These are a little bit easier to work with. They will side you more when it comes to disputes and chargebacks and refunds. They can save you a few $1,000s or even multiple 5 figures as well, because they do take less of a fee per order or per transaction. For example, PayPal, Stripe, and Shopify payments take about 2.9% plus 30 cents. These usually take a little bit less. Sometimes they don't even take the specific cent amount, and they'll just have like 2.3 or 2.5% per transaction. But if you add this up over the time, this can definitely save you a lot of money, like I said, potentially multiple 4 and 5 figures or even more. This is the last thing I want to talk about, guys. I have a lot of people I've worked with where we've found a good consistent product. We've gone to about 1 to 2K a day in sales, which is amazing, but we cannot go ahead and scale more because they have cash flow and money issues. Guys, you have to realize that if you do want to get to that 5, 10, 15, 20K day mark, you have to have some sort of liquid to make sure you can get to those numbers. Because remember, for some of these things, you're going to be paying on a day-to-day and even weekly basis, such as ad spend to Facebook or other media platforms, cost of goods sold, your Shopify plan, plus the apps, chargebacks, refunds, and disputes are also something you have to account for. Sometimes you'll lose those and they will not only take away that money from the customer, but they will also charge you 15 to 20 bucks on top of that. And also any other miscellaneous costs and ad creatives. So you have to really make sure you have that liquid, guys. If you don't have that much liquid, get a good business credit card. That is just as fine. Amex Gold and Platinum are great if you do approve for that. Amex also have a lot of other lower tier beginner cards as well I would suggest you guys to look into. And then Chase Ink and Chase Sapphire are also really, really good. They do come with a small preset spending limit, all these cards, but they do go up very, very quickly as long as you have good history and you're making those payments on time. In order to have as many less interruptions as possible in your business when scaling a product especially, make sure you have some liquid, make sure you have some cash flow coming in maybe from another stream of income, and if not the least, at least have decent credit lines so you can go ahead and account for these expenses yet still continue scaling and reaching where you want to be. And there you guys have it. I hope you found this video informative and helpful, and if you did stick around till this point in the video, then I appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
I definitely recommend keeping this blueprint at hand because it can definitely serve a great purpose and as a great resource working down the months of Q4. As always, if y'all do have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, then feel free to drop them in the comments down below because I do reply to each and every single one of them. Furthermore, feel free to check out all the links and resources in the description down below as they can and will be very helpful for your Shopify dropshipping store. Other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember to keep working hard and more importantly, continue staying awesome. Let's absolutely crush Q4. And until the next one, your boy is out. Peace.